My name is Daniel McAfee, and I serve as the BSM Director here at UMHB. I represent Texas Baptist, actually, their collegiate ministry here as the BSM Director, so that stands for Baptist Student Ministry Director. And the Baptist Student Ministry has been around on UMHB's campus for over 100 years. It's actually just this last year that we celebrated 100 years at UMHB. So here at UMHB, I am part of the Spiritual Life team, and that's made up of Jason Palmer, the Dean of Spiritual Life and University Chaplain. It's made up of Tiffany Horton, the Director of Global Outreach, and then myself, the BSM Director. And together we seek to provide opportunities for students to grow, to give, and to go. So we want them to be able to grow closer to Jesus and in their relationship with Jesus. We want them to be able to give in service locally and beyond, and then we want them to go to the whole world to spread the good news of Jesus. We want to be about three things. We want to be about welcoming people to campus. We want to be about engaging them spiritually. We want to be unapologetic about that our faith is central to what we do and who we are, and that we want to invite others into that. And then we also want to begin to equip people for ministry in their own daily lives. I would say one of the most important things that we do as Spiritual Life isn't only what we do, it's more about who we are. We want to be people who point others to Jesus, first and foremost. So what a blessing that is for us to be able to do ministry in that context and help students learn what that looks like to integrate all parts of their life, both in the classroom, at church, at home with family and friends, and be able to bring that together into an integrated life with Christ.
I have the wonderful opportunity to get to send students both here domestically and internationally all around the globe. A trip that I've been on with Global Outreach, there's so many, and each are unique in their different ways. But one that I love is just those experiences that you wouldn't get anywhere else. So we were in India, and we were going from one village to the next. And part of it is we were in the city, and we had to get on a train and go 9 hours to another location. So when we're getting on, that's things that you normally wouldn't have experienced if you've never ridden a train before. But there's like rats running through. There's no air conditioning, and people are just very much in culture shock when they walk on this train. But they get to sit down and meet people that they normally wouldn't have met. And they, I think it's this experience where this girl leans into me and she just says to me, "Thank you for the opportunity that we get to experience things that we normally wouldn't have." Missions Emphasis Week is a time where about 50 missionaries from all around the world and here locally will come out, and they'll set up camp and different tables to bring awareness of just the opportunity for students to be connected to either their vocation of what they're doing for their major, or just an interest that they have.
The Goal Team is basically a student-led team here, and we bridge the gap between all the faculty leaders and the student leaders for each trip that we help send out here. I think the most important thing that Goal Team does is that we give all students the opportunity to go on a mission. So not only Christian ministry majors can go on missions and make an impact, but it kind of gave me the mindset that no matter what vocation I go into, I can still have a Christ-like mindset and I can still impact others every day of my life.
I love that Goal Team is so passionate about missions. They're very good at bringing a voice for our students into our missions department, and also advocate for the missions department for the students and teach other people what it means to live like Jesus and walk out the Great Commission.
The most important thing Goal Team does, I would say, is just we overall equip teams that are going out, that UMHB is sending out. So each of the interns has our own unique field that we work with. So like for myself, I do like team building. Another friend of mine does fundraising. So we are really just there to make sure the teams that are going out, that UMHB is sending out, is well equipped for their trips.
With the students, I was able to show them, hey, this is how you take your personal story and you bring the gospel to life by saying, hey, this is the circumstances that were given to me in my life, but here's the gap. Here's how God came in and either brought healing to my life, or and answered specific prayers. So the students were able to connect their stories and be able to then share to the people that we were with that was specific to them.
Oh, my favorite thing is probably the fact that we get to help encourage students who have maybe never had a chance or an opportunity to go on missions. That's actually how I went on my first mission trip, was my freshman year through the program here at UMHB. I always wanted to go on a mission, like my whole life I've grown up in the church, but I never really had, I guess, an opportunity to, or felt the right trip was calling my name. And so once Tiffany spoke about all the missions she had been on in the past and that we would have an opportunity possibly to go through this school at chapel one day, I felt really called to just apply and put my name out there. So I applied on the last day that it was possible, and then I heard back pretty soon after, hey, you got an interview, and then I went on a mission trip last spring, 2 springs ago, to Costa Rica. We got to go down to Costa Rica for about a week, I think, and it ended up being an all-girls trip just by default. And while we were down there, we helped serve the community by watching kids in a little VBS daycare, and we also helped train mothers. So it was at a facility where they would help train mothers to learn life skills to be able to provide for themselves where otherwise they might be in domestic violence situations.
The most important thing that Gold Team does is they equip students to go on missions and to serve missionally on campus. So that's through our missions teams, equipping our student leaders, and providing resources for students to go overseas.
The most important thing for Gold Team is that we are making sure that the gospel is known here on campus and across the world. I think it's just valuable to know that you're seen, known, and loved no matter where you are and where your feet are planted. You're the hands and feet of Jesus.
We've had a lot of students involved with GoCore from UMHB. We've sent quite a few from UMHB through our program. Last year we had 4 students, 3 teachers, and 1 social work major. GoCore has come alongside UMHB students in their degree and in their skills and really honed in on those things and shown them that there is a place for them in God's global work. I went on a few mission trips, while I was here at UMHB. The one that sticks out to me is the India one. So I actually met my husband on this trip, which is like the highlight of my time at UMHB, but we both signed up to go to India. I think kind of a story from that India trip that sticks with me, because it was my first time overseas. I had heard about going to places and being able to feel the spiritual darkness, but I'd never experienced that. And that sounds really weird, like how do you feel that? But as soon as we stepped in country and started working with some of the locals and doing the work we were there to do, I just recognized that there was a different presence there, and that it did feel kind of dampened and dark in the country. And it was the first time to experience that. And I remember leaving that trip and just thinking, man, there's a lack of hope and a lack of light in a place like where we were serving. And it made me really wonder, like, where else in the world are we lacking hope, lacking light, lacking the love of Jesus? And so I just remember thinking, like, man, where else is the gospel needed? Like, where else do we need to spread it? And so, yeah, that is a memory that has stuck with me, even to today in my job, that reminds me of why I do what I do and why the gospel is so needed all around the world.
So through the BSM, we have avenues for students to be involved. So we have campus outreach, and then we have student missions. And through student missions, they primarily partner with Go Now missions to mobilize students all around the world. There was one student who was even actually looking to help send some people through Go Now, and she looked at me and she said, I think I need to go on a trip. And so she did. She went on a Go Now opportunity, and that changed her life to the degree that now she is looking at potentially a lifetime of missions and serving because of Go Now and the way that that helped her to connect and mobilize. And then even another student who went on her first 1 or 2 missions opportunities, she came back and she said, this is something I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. I think increasingly it seems as though there's a heartbeat for missions on our campus. People are beginning to see that, okay, I've come from my background of knowing Jesus. Now, what does it look like to make that my own and to grow in that relationship apart from parents and sometimes even home churches? And how am I going to invest and what that how am I going to grow in that, and then how am I going to serve as a result of that. And so I'm just beginning to see more and more people that are interested in that and are able to go and do that through both spiritual life and local churches and just in this area in general. And that's a really encouraging thing to see. Come on. I got this. Here we go. Come on.
Just keep going.
I got it.
Cool.
Okay.
That's really exciting.
Woohoo! Done.